We've all been there, right? The tears start welling up, and then that wave of sadness just hits you. But what if I told you we've got it all backward? Today, we're diving into a question that might just flip how you think about your own feelings. Do you cry because you're sad? Or, get this, are you sad because you cry? Let's get into it.
Okay, just imagine this for a second. You're out for a hike, minding your own business, and you look up, and there's a bear. What happens next? Like, what's the play-by-play in your head and your body? I'm willing to bet that for most of us, the story sounds pretty much the same.
So the common sense version goes like this, right? You see the bear, your brain goes, bear. You feel a jolt of fear, and that fear makes you run for your life. Simple. But there's this other kind of wild idea that suggests a totally different order. You see the bear, your body just instinctively kicks into gear and starts running, and your brain's interpretation of your pounding heart and moving legs, that is the feeling of fear.
For well over a century, that first version, the mind-then-body sequence, has been the default. I mean, it's intuitive, it's what feels right. But what if that common sense, that thing we all just assume is true, is actually a mistake?
Yeah, this is the classic mind over matter story of emotion we all know. An event happens, our brain processes it, cooks up a feeling, like fear, and then our body just gets the memo and follows orders. The emotion is born and raised in the brain, and the body is basically just the puppet.
But then, back in the late 1800s, this absolutely brilliant psychologist, William James, he looks at this neat little sequence and proposes something that completely flips the script.
James's whole argument was that we have the order totally wrong. He said that when we perceive something, the bear, our body reacts first. Your heart starts racing, your muscles tense up, you start running. And your feeling of all those bodily changes as they're happening is the emotion. The emotion isn't the cause of you running, it's the result of it. And to put it even more starkly, James argued we have everything completely upside down. It's not that we feel sorry and then we cry. He proposed we feel sorry because we cry. The physical act itself comes first, and our brain's awareness of those tears, that lump in your throat, that is the feeling we call sadness. It's a wild thought.
Now, this idea, which was also being developed around the same time by a Danish researcher named Carl Long, came to be known as the James Lange theory of emotion. And it's such a powerful idea that our emotions aren't just floating around in our heads, they are literally written in the language of our bodies.
But of course, a theory this radical was bound to stir up some controversy. And sure enough, by the 1920s, a new voice from Harvard, a researcher named Walter Cannon, stepped into the ring to say James had it all wrong.
And look, Cannon raised some really good points. First, he showed that even when you disconnect the body's main fight or flight system in animals, they still showed signs of emotional behavior. He also pointed out that your heart might race when you're scared, but hey, it also races when you're angry or even super excited. So if the body's signals are so similar, how can they create such different feelings? For Cannon, the real action had to be happening in a specific part of the brain called the thalamus. And here's where it gets good. He essentially used James's own poetic language against him. Cannon argued that our physical sensations, a fast heartbeat or sweaty palms, are just too bland on their own. He claimed it was the thalamus that took these simple signals and gave them their rich emotional texture, what he called their glow and color.
And that really brings us to the heart of the whole debate. Was James right that emotion is born in the body? Or was Cannon right that it's all cooked up in the brain? For decades, that was the big question.
This debate wasn't just a small academic squabble. It raged on for decades. But now, with modern tech and some seriously clever experiments, we can actually start to see which one of these ideas holds up better. So, who was right?
Okay, our first big clue comes from an idea called the facial feedback hypothesis. It's basically testing a very simple prediction from James's theory. If your body's state creates the emotion, well then changing your body should change your feelings, right?
So check out this classic experiment. Researchers literally tricked people into making a sad face without them even knowing it. They attached golf tees to their eyebrows and just told them, make the tips of the tees touch. This forces you to furrow your brow. And the result? Just making that physical expression actually made people feel sadder when they looked at sad pictures.
Think about that. Their body's state wasn't just a result of their emotion, it was actively shaping it. This was a huge point in favor of the whole body-first theory. Score 1 for William James.
Now here's another, maybe even more powerful piece of evidence. It comes from studying people with a really rare medical condition called pure autonomic failure. You can think of it like this. The phone line between their brain and their body's automatic response system has been cut. Their brain can't get the updates about their heart rate, their blood pressure, all those internal feelings.
So what happens when that feedback loop is broken? Well, it's exactly what the James Lange theory would predict. These patients say their emotions feel less intense, kind of more blunted or intellectual. Without the constant stream of data from the body, the glow and color of their feelings just seems to fade.
So what does this all mean for us? The evidence really suggests that William James was, for the most part, on the right track. And this isn't just some dusty 100-year-old scientific debate. It has profound implications for how we live and make decisions every single day.
Yeah, this whole line of thinking has led to a really cool modern theory from neuroscientist Antonio Damasio. It's called the somatic marker hypothesis. And a somatic marker, it's just the fancy scientific name for something you've known about your whole life, a gut feeling.
And here is the absolute key insight. Those physical feelings are not just random noise. They are data. Your body is sending these critical signals up to your brain, basically tagging your choices with a good feeling or a bad feeling to help guide your decisions, often way faster than your conscious brain can even catch up.
So it turns out Walter Cannon might have gotten one thing really wrong. He said that without the brain's special input, our bodily feelings would be pale and colorless. But the modern view is pretty much the exact opposite. Without those bodily feelings, our perception of the world itself would be the thing that's pale and colorless.
Which leaves us with one last question to chew on. If your body isn't just a passenger along for the ride, but an active co-pilot in your emotional life and your decisions, maybe, just maybe, it's worth paying a little closer attention to what it's trying to tell you. Thanks for tuning in.